Hey Miami sports fans, stop by Caneswear today at 2655 South University Drive in Davie, Florida, and check out their awesome merchandise selection of your favorite South Florida sports teams. From the Miami Dolphins, Hurricanes, Heat, Marlins, Florida Panthers, and Inter Miami, they've got it all. Celebrate your favorite team and show off your fandom with their beautiful team starter jackets, killer-looking helmets, team jerseys, cool shirts, and more. And if you are out of town or out of state, no worries. Go to caneswear.com and find everything they have on their site. Select what you want and they will ship your gear to you. Anything over $99 is shipped for free. Don't wait. Stop at Caneswear today.
It's back. The green is running. Look, Bobby, sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong.
All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Fids Talk today on the Fids Talk Sports Network. I'm Bobby Fids Talk, wearing green in honor of St. Patrick's Day tomorrow, and that's the one and only Fish Tank Hank. What's up, Fish Tank?
Hey, I'm wearing my green eyes.
There you go. There you go. Well, everybody, thank you all for tuning in today. We've got a lot to talk about. Very active free agency for the Dolphins, surprisingly so, which is impacting the NFL draft. But, Fish Tank, before we get into all that, how the heck are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Things are moving along here. We're almost to the end of the month, which means I can start getting a little more excited about the draft. So, things are coming along.
Coming around. Hey,
I'm in full circle once again where we all get overly excited about this, that, and the other thing. And,
you're starting to hear it, aren't you?
Argue about it. And
it's funny. Some of the ones that were going off nuclear at the end of the season are now back to, we're going to be good, man. We're doing great. Oh, it's like, here we go again. It's like a washing machine. You just keep going and going, but you got to give credit where it's due.
Yes,
you do. Miami, according to Over the Cap, was about $23.1 million over the cap at the start of free agency. They lost Christian Wilkins. They've lost Robert Hunt, Brandon Jones, Andrew Van Ginkel. I mean, some key guys left Miami. And it hurt Dolphin fans, hurt us. We love those guys. But it's business. It happens. $27.5 million a year for Christian Wilkins in Vegas. I mean, good for him. Happy for him. But I'm happy we didn't pay that. First, we couldn't afford it. But, the market set itself. He's gone. So, you had beat writers and podcasters and whoever saying, hey, you know what? Next this season's a sham. This is it. We, turn in your tag, trade Tyreek, trade Waddle, trade up. It's over. Get draft picks. It's over.
Yeah.
Miami comes around.
We're completely washed already. I mean,
it's done.
We haven't even gotten through free agency yet, but the whole season's washed.
Raw reaction. You know how it is. Converting some salaries, some restructures, some cuts. Xavier Howard was cut. Terran Armstead comes back, restructures his contract. After everything, Miami, according to right now at least, are about $4.5 million under the cap. And with that, they brought in names like Jordan Brooks, linebacker, Anthony Walker, another linebacker, Janu Smith, tight end from Atlanta, Jonathan Harris, Benito Jones, Deshaun Hand, Jonathan Harris, Kendall Fuller, corner, to replace Damian Howard. They've been active, surprisingly so. Fish Tank, looking at what Miami going into this offseason, thinking that, hey, man, we're not going to have enough money to get some quality guys, blah, 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 blah. But to do what they've done so far, what do you think of this free agency so far? What is your favorite move? And then if you had to, even though it's a little early, what grade do you give the Dolphins offseason so far?
Okay. Well, you know, I'm really happy we finally got a tight end. Now, how will that play out? I'm not sure. And, you know, as far as favorite pickup, anytime they pick up a spot we need. I mean, the linebackers was good. I like the fact that we brought in a couple linebackers, but we could still use one in the draft. You know what I mean?
Sure. Absolutely.
We could still use a young body in there. Not saying that we're going to pick somebody that high where it's, you know, because with the defensive tackles, they brought in quite a few that, you know what they've done that I really like? The overall big picture, I'll give them a C right now. And I'll tell you why I'm giving them a C. I'm giving them a C because they did do some stuff, but they also shot themselves in the foot first by being way over the cap in the first place. So if you're going to put that much into it, you better have guaranteed pieces in place. The other thing I'm really excited about was they have upgraded our secondary. That's right, folks. I believe they've upgraded it at this point in time. So that's where I give them, you know, the kudos. That and for bringing in depth. So far, they brought in some depth on defensive line, and the secondary's looking really nice. I like what they've done as far as bringing in the 2 tight ends for the offense. The only thing that I'm curious about is what I'm always curious about, Bobby. And what are they going to do about this offensive line? The fact that we're missing 2 guards and you need a left tackle for half the games for when Armstead's gone.
Hey, you know, I think a C is absolutely fair. I've heard people say B plus, B, you know, and I think that's just highly optimistic. Cliff D, who I'm happy he's tuning in. Thank you, Cliff. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Evan Poster, Fitzstanza in the house, who just hosted Bandwagon. New season of the Bandwagon started last night with Fish Tank. But I can understand, too, those reactions when he says a D. You know, because of what they've lost, you know, going into free agency, and hopefully I got the right graphic up here. You know, going in free, well, again, lost Christian Wilkins, lost Andrew Van Ginkel, Xavier Howard was cut, Robert Hunt was signed elsewhere, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You know, and then you go into free agency with the money that you had, but able to turn that around,
yeah,
and to be able to address what you've been able to address. You know, again, going into free agency, you needed a tight end, you needed offensive line, center and guard, defensive line, linebacker, receiver, safety, edge rusher. I mean, Fish Tank, when we talked about this before free agency, you were like, holy crap, we need a whole team. You know, we were talking on this. Now, considering what they've done now, and again, doesn't mean all the positions that they have addressed, does not mean they will not address it in the draft. But
yeah,
tight end is Janu Smith, Jody Fortson out of Kansas City. Defensive line, again, Benito Jones, Deshaun Hand, Jonathan Harris. They've center. They got Aaron Brewer, who could, he's not promised a starting position. He could play guard. He could be the backup. Offensive guard, though, is still a need. Right guard and left guard. Are you going to trust Eichenberg at any of those spots?
No.
They've signed linebackers. I mean, Jordan Brooks, Anthony Walker. They still need wide receivers, even though, Cedric Wilson, He signed elsewhere. One of our other receivers was signed elsewhere. Right now, you got Tyreek, Jalen Waddle, Easy E. And I know fans are really hyped on Easy E, just like they are in Channing Tindall. I'll never know why until we see. I know preseason looks really nice, but Miami needs to address wide receiver. Robbie Chosen did visit yesterday with Miami, reportedly, even though that's still, you got to, you got safety, Miami, Jordan Poyer, Kendall Fuller as a defensive back, and then edge rusher still a need. Linebacker as well was Shaq Barrett, was another linebacker signed by the Dolphins.
Let me ask you something, Bobby. You're
Yes,
always
sir.
asking me all these questions and whatnot, and I want to ask you something. What, as far as, do you have a specific position that you want Miami to pick in the beginning rounds? Or do you just want the best player that's available with those players that we still see at the need slots?
That is a great question.
Because we could get a wide receiver that falls all the way down to us.
Yeah, so
and we need one.
Yeah, entering free agency or the offseason in general with eyes on the draft, my hope for Miami, which they've done so far, is sign conservative contracts, good deals, don't overpay, fill out the roster, and fill up as many needs as possible. Do that so that way when you go into the draft, you're not I don't want to say reach, but you're not drafting a player because you need that position, that you go and get the best player available. Now, one of my favorite players happens to be a position of need, even though we've addressed some of those, but those are guys that are like, those are rotational guys, those aren't starters. But defensive tackle, Braden Fisk out of FSU. Love that kid. I mean, if Miami got him, if they moved down or they got him at 21, I don't care. I'd love it. It is a positional need, but I would think that's one of my dudes. But if you're talking about, let's say, Brian Thomas or from LSU wide receiver, or Rome Odunze from Washington is sitting there at receiver, and they're sitting there, and you've already addressed these needs. And even though you have this defensive lineman or an edge rusher or even an offensive lineman sitting there, and even though Miami needs offensive line, even though we're more worried about that than Chris Greer is, you could go get that guy now because you've addressed some of those needs. Talking about, let me see here, who they've brought back. We talked about who they've lost. They lost Christian Wilkins, Robert Hunt, Van Ginkel, Raquan Davis, Brandon Jones. They've re-signed Nick Needham, Robert Jones, Elijah Campbell, Savon Ahmed, Benito Jones, Deshaun Hand, Jake Bailey. Sorry, Evan. They brought in special teams ace Saran Neal, which was pretty cool. So I'm always about best player available, Fish Tank. But right now, the dire needs after it's still free agency. Things can still happen. Miami is still working, as is every other team. Trades are going down. But right now,
and after the cuts June 1st, you'll have that whole other segue that goes. So
absolutely. But right now, edge rusher, guard, receiver, tackle, or nose tackle, are the positional needs, at least going into the draft. So let me bounce that question right back to you. Where are you standing on this?
Where am I standing on it?
Yeah. Would you want to go BPA, or is there a position like, no, man, forget BPA. We still need to get this guy?
There are some guys that I really like that are going to be on the board for us, like the center, JPJ, right? I really like him. I really like Graham Barton.
Yes. Yep.
Because he can fit just about anywhere. Right now, what Miami has done is they've gotten our rotational or backup players. Now we need to meet to the bones. Like defensive tackle, we still need a stout, tackle in there. We need a big body to take up some room and make somebody put 2 people on them. We need one of those kind of guys next to Sealer or down there on that line with Sealer, pushing them back into the quarterback's face. So, but this draft is a little different than most drafts, to be honest with you. For me, anyway. This draft has a lot more players available in our positions of need throughout the draft. We're very fortunate. When I keep looking at the big boards, I always see players that we need that are usually BPA, and for me, if it's really BPA and that's what the Miami Dolphins, stress and go after, then if it's Thomas sitting there, Thomas drops down and Thomas is sitting there, the wide receiver, then you take him if that's the best player available. And, if you need that player, you take it. Well, you could say you need a center too, and right there is JPJ, the center. What do you do then? See, it's not that cut and dry.
It's not, but if Miami continues to address free agency the way they're doing, and I will say, I didn't say this earlier, I've given them a C+. You got them a C, I got them a C+, just because what they, they've lost a lot, and I'm talking about, not a lot of players that were heavy contributors to the Dolphins. But the way, and they had no money, and going into free agency the way they have with as little money as possible to be able to rework those contracts and to get the players they have got, they've had a solid free agency so far, free agency. So,
well, they beefed up our defense basically and got us some tight ends.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
They added depth on the line. We have a secondary that's going to be unbelievably good. And
looks like it.
And then you got the couple tight ends, like I said. So they've done quite a bit. That's why I gave them a C instead of a D, because the trouble they had us in the first place.
You're right. You're not wrong. No, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm not disagreeing.
We were in.
100%. And you know what? Offseason has gone from C to B+. That's okay. Everyone has a right to opinion. But here's the problem with that B+, because I've seen B+ is going out for Miami. Are we not paying attention to the offensive line? How has what Robert Hunt is gone? Connor Williams is probably going to retire. He's out anyway. You got Eichenberg. Who's your offensive guards? Armstead. Who's your swing tackle? We got Aaron Brewer, who's a very good run blocker, very successful young guy, hungry. Hey, maybe a lot of people were crapping on Connor Williams and to be one of the top guards. The 2 seasons he was here, top centers. Maybe Aaron Brewer turns around. Hey, I'm not hating on it. I'm all for it. But, you still have some moves to address. Let's talk about possible guys that Miami could target, to help continue to address some needs that might not cost a pretty penny that you might be able to get on the download for at least this season. A guy that Tyreek Hill likes a lot, and he already banged the table for him through social media, wide receiver Mike Thomas out of New Orleans. That's a guy there, one of the top wide receivers in football, or used to be. That's a guy you could probably get on a good deal. The guy that I love, and I think he would be a perfect fit for Miami, who I banged the table for last year before he re-signed with the Falcons, was Cordarrelle Patterson. I would love to have this guy on the Dolphins. That dude, if they sign him, fish tank, B-. No. All right. Offensive line. There you go. 2 guys on the board there that you could get that would make you feel better.
Yeah.
Kevin Zeitler, Dalton Reisner, offensive guard out of Denver. You talk about a nose tackle fish tank. This guy right here, Tier Tart, Calais Campbell, edge rusher Jadeveon Clowney, who's always kind of flirted with the Dolphins back and forth, did a very good job in Baltimore last year. His defensive line coach is here now as our D coordinator. And then a quarterback, backup. Are we comfortable with Mike White? I'm not. I'd go get Josh Dobbs. I'd feel good if we got Josh Dobbs. Fish tank, what do you think of these names, boss?
Looking at him, I'm not as crazy on Patterson as you are. I know you like him, but
Disagree with me?
crazy.
What? Shocker.
Yeah, I just said I'm just not as crazy about
I
it.
hear you.
I don't like Clowney. Calais Campbell, he's seen better days. Defensive lineman, I like the defensive lineman you have in there, though. Got to tell you. Josh Dobbs, though, I don't know. I'd rather draft somebody than. But I understand the need nowadays for having somebody that's good as a backup, with the fact that they're going to be yanking all these quarterbacks out every time they hit their head. So I can't disagree with you on that, even though I'd like to.
Oh, okay. All right. And Scotty, brother, I'm not sure if it was Reisner who had the issue with Butch Berry. We'd have to look that up. Supposedly, I read that Reisner would like Miami. So I don't know. Could be you could have a point there, but I'm not sure, boss. All right, so let's move it on here. We are on good timing too. Evan brought this up. We are. Evan said this earlier. Greer doing. I hate when people say, "Should we apologize?" I know he's trolling. He loves doing that, but no, don't do that. Job's not finished. The job's not finished. Miami still has moves to make before we feel good about going into next season. There's still
a lot that needs to be done, but there's a lot that has been done for our depth and our secondary. So
secondary's looking good. Right, Jordan Poyer, Kendall Fuller, Nick Needham is back. Solid secondaries.
If they had addressed at least one offensive guard, they would have had a B plus from me. But you leave two guard spots wide open. I don't know. This whole "don't worry about our offensive line" comment. And you got a left tackle that can't stay healthy. So you have to bring in 3 guys. You have to now. So, and they're all offense.
Cliff, Colin Coward says the Dolphins has had the worst free agency. First off, I'm never really worried about what Colin Coward says. But I think that's more about who they've lost in regards of the name. Christian Wilkins, that's a big name. Xavier Howard is cut. That's a big name. Robert Hunt, who signed a mega deal, was a solid starter for the Dolphins offensive line. Those are big names that are no longer Dolphins. So people are already, when you see that, you're going to go, we're trash. We're done. Blah, 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 blah. However, and I'm not crapping on, I love those guys. Those guys were solid for us for years. Great Dolphins. But what the hell did we do with them? How many playoff games did we win with those guys? Zero. Yep. You're getting fresh faces in new places. And a lot of times that happens. That could change into something good. You get a new defensive line in here, you get new faces, it happens. So, yeah, it sucks that we lost those guys, but if you would have signed Christian Wilkinson at $27.5 million, you would not have been able to fill out the roster as much as you've had right now. You really had to been bargain shopping at the minimum. You would have gave Robert Hunt that $100 million contract, you would not have the money to do what you're doing right now. No. As much as they are doing. So we got to take it into context. Those guys were great. Those were big names. They've done great for us.
Yeah.
But what did they do for us in the end in regards of playoff runs, which is the goal? Super Bowl is the goal. And I'm not hating on those guys. Love them to death. But you know what? They deserve the money they got. Fresh face in a new place. And Miami's done the same. It's time to move on. I'm not going to knock Miami in regard to that. Again, I think they should have worked on that a little bit earlier, those deals. That was my argument about it. Just like you're not supposed to wait on Jalen Waddle next season, so receiver money goes up, and now you got to overpay for Jalen Waddle. Talk to him right now. You should have talked to him yesterday. Get on that. That's where I'm hating on. It's like you should have approached these guys earlier. You're letting the market set itself, and when you do that, you get overpriced. and you're not going to pay those guys. So, yeah, it sucks we lost them, but hey, you know what? Thank you for everything you've done. It's time to move on. Let's see.
But
so
if Miami starts winning, then people start to take lesser deals. You know, they won't charge you $150 million. They'll only charge you $125 million if Miami is winning in the playoffs and wins Super Bowls and stuff like that. Then players come to you at, down the cheap so that they can win a Super Bowl.
We have no problem with players coming to Miami.
It happened in Tampa Bay. It happened for the Patriots. We've been watching it happen all over the league for years, and they take the lesser money every time. They're at the end of their career, and they still have that juice left.
Yeah, and first off, Miami has no issues bringing in players. Players want to come to South Beach, Florida. You zero tax. Right now, Miami has according to players, the best owner, the best organization in regards of how they treat players. Players see that. That's why we're getting a lot of decent players coming in on the cheap. On good deals. Issue is managing those contracts and keeping the players that do well here. That's the issue. That's the issue. So what credit? I'd say, Ralphie Boy in the comments there, we talked about this in Miami, giving Guy credit. What credit? I'm not going to give credit until we get that playoff win because we haven't. 20 years, since 2016, we haven't. I'm not going to get into career right now, but that is a fault. You should have worked those deals out a lot earlier. It's very easy bringing people here. The deals worked out. Front office is doing its job. Great. I gave credit there. But I think, you should be at right now, Jalen Waddle should be extended yesterday. You work out his deal. That way you have him. You're not waiting next season where somebody else signs a big deal, a receiver, and now Jalen Waddle's overpriced. You can't get him now. He's going to say, I'm not going to go for your cheap deal because I know I could get a better deal elsewhere, like Christian Wilkins and Robert Hunt. Talk to him now. Don't wait till next year because then we're going to say, oh, we signed this mid-tier guy. Now we replace Jalen Waddle. There's no replacing Jalen Waddle unless you go draft the guy to replace Jalen Waddle. There's no one you could replace Jalen Waddle. Just what it is. Yeah, who gives credit for failure? There's nothing to give credit for yet. Sorry. Higher expectations. Anyway, Fish Tank.
Yes, sir.
We've talked about what needs we should address, or what we'd prefer to do at the draft. You brought that up earlier, which was a great question. After what Miami's done, you give it a C. I give it a C plus. I think those are fair. I know people are giving it a D. I see B plus. Emotions are high. We got to give credit, though, where Miami's done in regards of addressing the needs and be able to get these players that they're filling out these needs as much as they can before they get into the draft so they could get maybe best player available, which would be best case scenario. Because you're getting a guy who you would never really get because you have to address this need. That's why I hope if Miami signs an offensive guard, like you said, if they could go get a Dalton Reisner or whatever, that C plus jumps to a B. Now you're really filling up that offense. Now you're filling up that team where now you're not going, okay, I have to go get, even though he's a good player, now I have to go get the kid out of Duke, Barton. Now I have to get him at 21. No, if you got Reisner and you got Brewer and you're sitting there and now you don't have to go reach for a guard. You can say, I could wait till the second round or I could trade back and go get, like Evan brought up, the Vikings deal with the Texans. Miami, even though they got one pick extra, they did move up. Miami definitely needs to add some girth there in the middle of that trade down. Now, today's mock draft, we're not trading back. We're going to stay.
No trading. But
Miami should trade back or should look at it because they need to add some extra and get some extra juice in there. But if Miami could do that, then at 21, instead of going for Graham Barton, who's a good player, I'm not hating on that at all. I've talked about him. You talked about him. Instead of having to get him because you need him, you don't need him anymore. You get a Dalton Reisner or the other guy. I'm losing his name right now. You go ahead and get that best player available, BPA. Whether that is wide receiver or tight end or running back or whomever, another corner, as Evan would love. Sarcasm. There's going to be a second wave of cuts after free agency. Absolutely, Scotty. No, 100%. You talk about after June 1st. After the draft, June 1st, that Xavier Howard deal comes off. Miami's going to make some more moves. Free agency is a long process. That's why I say it's a way too early grade. Let's see. What's up, Cap? Great to see you, brother. Let's see. I know that. I love you too. We never. Absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. We talked about it earlier. Just like every free agency, we got some new players, especially at great prices. You're filling up holes, good moves. Appreciate it. No splashes right now. No overpays. Perfect. It's great to do that. Only expansion teams to bet. No. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. No. You go when the draft is less leads as possible, and you go get BPA. That's how I see it. Expansion teams.
And, everybody always says BPA, but you can do a combination. Like I keep saying,
100%.
You can do a combination of like I said. What do we need? We need 2 guards. We need an offensive tackle. We still need a nose tackle. We still need. God, there's just so many. Still need a cornerback. Just kidding. There's so many different needs that we have that we're probably going to be real close to picking BPA anyway.
100%. Finn Steak with CB83, guys. Great content. Tune in, subscribe. Great to see you, brother. Finn's up. Bones in the house. Good to see you, my man. Thank you for watching.
Fins up, fellas, folks.
Sure. But what's one of your good players, Cliff? Let's be real, right? So let's say Aaron Brewer at center. Jackson Powers is sitting there. You draft Jackson Powers. Aaron Brewer was signed. He said he wasn't guaranteed the starter. But if you get Jackson Powers Johnson, now you have a quality starter and you got some quality depth right there. That's drafting best player available, and then you get quality depth. Let's say, you got Jonnu Smith, Durham Smythe, Jody Fortson, who's more of like an experimental. Brock Bowers is sitting there. You draft Brock Bowers as BPA. Yeah, Bowers. You got Jonnu Smith. That's what I'm saying.
I'm taking Brock Bowers.
But you know what I'm saying? I mean, I get what he's saying. You got it. He's still go get a player that fills a need, blah, blah. But do you think, I'm sorry, let me read this. Do you think mini bundles 11 and 23? Oh, yes, I believe they're definitely they're looking to trade up, my brother. I do. They could try to trade up in the top 5 because now it's rumored that teams 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 5 are going to go after quarterback. So you got to believe Minnesota's seeing that, hearing that, and they're going to probably try to move up to get either J.J. McCarthy out of Michigan or Drake May, whoever's remaining. Let's say best player available is a quarterback. That's a great point. Well, and let me just say this. I'll give you both scenarios there, Cliff. Let's say best player available. Let's say Drake May, somehow, some way, or JJ, don't matter. Either one, you pick one.
Go with Jaden Daniels.
Jaden Daniels, I'll be shocked. But
hey, if we're dreaming, go with Jaden Daniels.
All right, okay, let's say Jaden Daniels somehow has an Aaron Rodgers or Dan Marino type fall in the draft. Okay? He's sitting there at 21. Miami
he smoked pot when he was a rookie.
He was hanging out with Hank. And Hank got him in trouble. No. So he let's say Jaden Daniels is sitting there at 21. Miami has met with at the combine Bo Nix. So they've gone, most teams have, but they met with Bo Nix. So what happens when you're looking at a quarterback, right? Or let's say quarterback is there and they're going, man, Miami's trying to extend Tua. They haven't done it. So Tua wants a good deal. Miami may be trying to protect themselves. They say that it's going to take until the start of the season. You're sitting there at QB1. Miami kind of teases to teams going, hey, maybe we'll take this guy. Jaden Daniels is standing there. We haven't extended to it yet. It's taken a damn long time. Teams are seeing that. Guess what? A team behind you is saying, holy crap, I want Jaden Daniels. They're calling on the telephone. They're saying, you know what? I'm going to give you that deal. Let me give you a mega deal. Give you a ransom. Trade up. Go get the quarterback. But if a good quarterback's there, you never know. Look at what other teams are doing right now. Jacksonville trades for Mac Jones. Sam Howell went to Seattle. Who's this other guy? I'm trying to think. So many good quarterbacks or quality quarterbacks, what do you want to call them, are going to be backups now because teams are freaking Philadelphia Eagles with Jalen Hurts, an MVP candidate like Tua. They traded for Kenny Pickett, who was a starter last year for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yep.
People go, why are we trading for a quarterback? We have Tua. No, Tua's our starter. But if you could go get a guy that you know could be your quality back, or if you're working on a deal and it's what you go get that guy. No, wrong. You need a receiver. You got to get a receiver. That's not true. That's wrong, in my opinion, Cliff. Best player available. If wide receiver's sitting there, you go get a receiver. Jalen Waddle's contract is coming up. Tyreek has a mega deal you may have to move on from, but you don't have anybody behind him. You don't have anyone behind him.
No doubt.
And no receiver you draft is starting over Tyreek, so they're not a number one receiver until they leave. And then you're going to go, damn, man, Miami was smart for drafting that guy when they did, because now he's our number one.
We have a big body wide receiver that's like Megatron.
Yeah. Everyone is picking up or trading for a quarterback. Teams that have quarterbacks, legitimate starters, are trading and signing quarterbacks. I hope Miami's taking notes. Yeah. Go get Josh Dobbs. Go get a quality backup starting caliber quarterback to be behind your guy, and you're going to feel a lot better about your quarterback position no matter who's there. All right. Enough talking. Let's do some walking.
Woo! I'd be tired if I was you, man. Good job.
All right. Let's see. Let's get this up here, Fish Tank. So
yes, sir.
Rules are
up here. Let's have some fun.
Let's see. Rules are. All right, Cliff. Put the player or put the positions that you think are dire needs. And again, I'm going best player available. I think would be the best part, unless the best player available is the position we need. And best player available for, in my opinion. Yeah. Again, you can't just think about right now. That's a problem right here. So Lo-Fi saying we draft a player to play a number one receiver to play number 3. You got to think about next season as well. You're drafting not just for now, but for the future. If Jalen Waddle's contract is coming up, and you see what happened with Christian Wilkins and Robert Hunt, and now you're going for scraps, don't think Benito. Those guys are quality depth pieces. Those aren't starters. Those guys don't make up for Christian Wilkins. Let's be real. Jalen Waddle could be gone next year. Tyreek Hill, with a big deal, could be gone next season. And then you're sitting there going, man, we don't have a receiver. Man, we lost Jalen Waddle, man. We signed Marquise Brown, Hollywood Brown. But I'm just throwing a name out there. Are you going to feel good about your receiver position?
No.
You know what I'm saying? Like, take notice. Waddle and Hill take notice. You realize, right? Whatever that means. I don't know what that means. I have no clue. Drafting a receiver doesn't do anything to Waddle and Hill. It secures Miami. I'm worried about the logo. I'm not worried about the team. Waddle and Hill is saying sign Michael Thomas. Hill is saying, he has said he would like to have Brian Thomas, the receiver at LSU. He said that on his stream. That's a number one receiver in college, one of the top receivers in the draft, that he has said he would like Miami to take at 21. Is that hurting his feelings?
Yeah.
Get back to me when you research what you're talking about. All right, Fish Tank. Let's get this up here.
Is that one in the books, Bobby?
It's in the books. All right. I'm going to push this up here.
The side view again, don't you? Let me bust out my glasses here.
Well, last we had Wingate fix this for us last time. Yeah, we need a big-bodied wide receiver. Absolutely. All right, Fish Tank, you know the rules, sir. It was told to us last week by Daniel and Scotty, no trades. So we're going to roll with what? No trades. So
I go first.
You go first. You got it. All right, I'm going to start it up
first this week. And it's going to be a tough one.
Yeah, it is. So we're going to reject these ones.
Yep, just reject them all. And let me see what I have to chew on here for a second. There he is right there. Jackson Powers Johnson.
Going Jackson Powers?
I like Quentin Mitchell, but we don't need a cornerback as much as we need a center.
Absolutely. So you're going to go with him?
We now have solved our starting center problem.
And you got a guard, Aaron Brewer.
And fixed our depth problem.
There you go. Let's go Jackson Powers.
Boom.
All right.
Okay.
Ooh, okay.
Got some players there.
Yeah, you do.
Oh, I like Troy Franklin, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got Chris Braswell. But Michael Hall Jr. is really nice.
Defensive tackle, absolutely.
Yeah. I think I want to scroll down a little bit. Let's scroll down a little. Is Fisk on the board?
He is.
Okay, we definitely need a defensive tackle, and I think he might be the best one on the board right now.
All right, let's go. You want to get him?
I like Chris Jenkins too, though.
From Michigan.
Yeah, let's get Fisk. I like Fisk.
There you go. All right.
So we have a center, and we also have a center that we can move over to guard now, so that fills one guard spot.
It does.
So I need to fill a guard spot. I need to fill a couple others. There he is right there. Zach. As soon as I ask for him, look, he pops up.
Yes, he did.
I'll take that all day long.
There you go. Okay. Moving right along.
Now we could use a wide receiver and a cornerback.
So wide receiver and a corner. So let's start with receiver for you.
Let's see who comes up.
And what was the other position?
Cornerback.
Corner.
Whoa. Cornelius Johnson.
Wide receiver.
I like Michigan. Cornelius Johnson, actually.
All right. Let's go ahead and go with Cornelius here.
Cornerback. Yeah, we're going to go with Cornelius.
All right.
Definitely.
There you go.
Bam. That takes care of our number 3 wide receiver now. Definitely.
All right. You're at 198.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh,
let's go to cornerback. Yeah, let's take Still. Tarheeb Still.
I got it.
Now, this is our luxury pick. You know why I call it our luxury pick, Bobby?
Why is that?
Because we've already filled every need we have that's left on the board. So let's go back to all.
Yep.
And we talked about BPA, right? Well,
yes, sir.
Right now, the best player available that we could use is Nathan Thomas at 236.
Offensive tackle. Yep. Nathan Thomas.
A little more depth, which we needed.
There you go. So Jackson Powers, center. Braden Fisk, defensive line. Zach Zinter, Michigan. Cornelius Johnson, Michigan. Tarheeb Still, corner out of Maryland. And Nathan Thomas, offensive tackle out of Louisiana.
Yes, sir.
So Jackson Powers, again, you get Jackson Powers. You can plug him in at center. You can put Aaron Brewer either as the backup center or move him to guard if you don't address the guard in second half of free agency. Braden Fisk, now you got your starter with that quality depth. Zach Zinter, he could be a depth piece. Or, hey, if he shows up in preseason, he could be your starter. Cornelius Johnson, depth at wide receiver. Tarheeb Still, depth at the secondary. And then Nathan Thomas, plug him in behind Austin Jackson or Taron Armstead. Again, depth pieces. I'll tell you what, the first 3 picks for sure, I probably would have gone the same way. Honestly, can't go wrong with anything. You know how much I love Jackson Powers and Braden Fisk.
Yeah,
there
you just don't know Cornelius Johnson, though.
Let's see. Wide receiver. Let's see, enter draft.
I better put my glasses back on.
Better put them back on. All right.
I got to watch what you're doing now.
Yeah, you do.
Don't try cheating today either.
What am I cheating? What'd I do?
I'm just saying, don't try to cheat, all right?
All right. So after what Miami has done so far in free agency, the remaining, at least to me, draft targets got edge rusher, center, guard, receiver, defensive line, and even quarterback. I'm going to go different with you, okay? Because what you were doing there, I felt like it was right on. Like I could have gone the same route you did on both picks. So I'm going to switch it up just for switching it up safe to be different. We need an edge rusher. Just like the Jalen Waddle situation, we know Bradley Chubb might not start the season. Jalen Phillips is coming off a big injury, but he also coming into a contract year. We need to get some depth there, but we also need a guy who could come in and start if those guys can't, and a guy who could possibly be here when they're gone. Chop Robinson, Penn State edge rusher. One of the top edge rushers in the draft. Could be a quality starter, quality piece, defensive line. Get some power, more talent on that Anthony Weaver defense.
I think it used to be called pork chop, and then it just wound up being chop. Not
Maybe.
Sure. I thought I heard something like that. One of those little weird things,
Love this. Okay. 2 quality players sit on the top of this board right here.
Yeah,
okay?
No kidding.
I got my edge rusher. Now, you could go Christian Hines here, and you plug him in at left guard or right guard. You got Aaron Brewer. Do you trust Aaron Brewer to be your starting center? Hey, look what Miami was able to do with Connor Williams, making one of the top centers in football the past 2 seasons. Look what they did with Austin Jackson last year with Butch Berry. You could trust that. I love Zach Frazier. That dude is a monster. He's a amateur wrestler. He does it all. He's a beast. He broke his leg, still played. My goodness. It's hard for me not to. But I'm going to roll with Christian Hines here, offensive guard. You plug him in at left or right guard here. I'm going to trust our coaching staff with Aaron Brewer at center. For now, I'm going to trust them at center there, and I'm going to go Christian Hines. Offensive line, offensive guard.
I don't have that much faith in them with center.
Well, what they were able to do with Connor Williams, who wasn't a true center, to make him one of the top centers in football the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And what Butch Berry was able to do to kind of elevate Austin Jackson a little bit, and what he did with Kendall Lamb to step in place for Taron Armstead, I'm down.
Mm-hmm.
So looking at it here, 158. Let's see.
Ooh.
We got defensive. Yeah, okay. So let me go here. I'm going to look.
Ooh, really? You like Keith Randolph? Or do you like Justin Obagi?
I'm looking at, if you're telling me defensive line, I'm looking at Jordan Jefferson or Keith Randolph. I'm still
there's another
looking
guy.
at Landon.
There's another guy on the board that I like too. He's at 152, but Jordan Jefferson, obviously.
Yeah.
If I was going DT.
Let me look here. Yeah, I'm going to go Jordan Jefferson, defensive tackle. LSU 6'2", 300 pounds, nose tackle. I'm rolling with that guy there.
Yeah, definitely.
Now you got yourself a decent rotation there.
Mm-hmm.
So far I've gone edge rusher, guard, defensive tackle. Safety could still be a need. I know Miami wanted to sign Deshaun Elliott even after bringing in Jonathan Poyer, so I wouldn't be surprised if that was a target there. Let's go ahead and pull this up.
See,
here.
right now on this board,
Yeah.
Justin Ibogini, well, how do you say that?
Obaji?
Yeah, Obaji is the best player available, but you're not going to take him because you already have a defensive tackle.
And you add that extra piece and you bring in Jordan Jefferson. I could look elsewhere there. And for me, I'm looking at safety Josh Proctor.
Really? I like Proctor.
I like Proctor. I'm going to go with Proctor here.
That's a good choice.
So
I'm surprised you went with a safety, though. I think safety's locked down.
Again, Miami, of course, brought in Poyer, but they wanted to continue. They wanted to bring back Deshaun Elliott, even though they had Poyer and they have Holland. So Miami's still looking to build onto their secondary. I think they do that here at Proctor.
I think Kohu's the odd man out that of the cornerbacks.
Yeah,
that he might actually be a safety.
Oh well, hey, you never know. Absolutely, in Miami experiments, we'll even need them.
Just watch for that. I said that a couple times now, but
there you go. All right, so here I have it listed here, quarterback, and it's late in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go Joe Milton.
Yeah,
get that going Joe Milton here.
I saw him on the board when I was picking, but it wasn't a need, so I moved on because
that's okay.
I just didn't see that as a need for me.
So here's the last pick. Taking a look here. I see. I saw some of him. I don't think, but I'm not interested in his size. I'll go here.
You know who I like there? That's who I like.
Who do you like?
Anthony Gould. He's a special teams player too.
Oops. I'm going to go with defensive back Josh DeBerry. Corner. So there you go. Chop Robinson, Christian Hines, Jordan Jefferson, Josh Proctor, Joe Milton, Josh DeBerry. Heavy on defense, but I can see it. Again, I'm going to trust Aaron Brewer and the offensive line coach to get him going. Christian Hines,
you're kind of like me. I'm all about your first three.
Kind of, yeah, what we were talking about earlier.
After your first three, it's more a matter of, once you hit that 184, it's more a matter of personal opinion, I guess. More like, who would you really like to have to see as a play? You get into those 180s, you're not expecting starters. You know, you're not expecting starters by any means, but we all talk like everybody we draft or pretend to draft, however we want to say this, mock draft, is going to be one of our starters. So, but I don't look at it that way.
Absolutely. And I appreciate everyone watching right now. We got a lot of interactions in the comments. Lo-Fi. Yep. Yeah. Adam, Cliff, of course, guy, those guys, Cap for Life, Ralphie Boy, Dad Dean, Mark Adams, which I'm thankful for everyone coming in California.
Fins up, everybody.
Yeah, we have
80. Have you with us today.
We have 85 people tuning in right now, Fish Tank.
Wow, that's a decent amount, huh?
85 people. I appreciate everyone watching here. If you're new to the show, new to the channel, hop on wherever you're watching, whether that's on Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. If you're on anything other than YouTube, hop on over to YouTube. Hit that like and subscribe button. We got great content. Catch Fish Tank every Saturday and Thursday or Friday on Bandwagon. And you catch me, of course, on the clock, East Entry Boys, Finn's Talk Today, everywhere. I'm usually behind the scenes, but got a lot of great content on the channel. But Fish Tank, man,
Yes, sir.
it's been interesting. It's never boring being a Dolphins fan. It's never boring doing this. Any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
I think we're in a great position. I think that they've done enough to get us where we can be a little more comfortable than when everybody went through the first blow and the shock. You know what I mean? We're not that far back anymore. And I like what we've done. I think that there's still a lot to be done, especially the offensive line. I'm still really worried because, in my opinion, that's Greer's Achilles heel is him drafting offensive linemen. It just hasn't worked out for him, to be honest with you. If you look at his past history, it just hasn't worked out. I think he's just had a bad jinx hanging over him or something. You know what I mean?
I hear you.
Just that stormy cloud follows him every time. You get that offensive line talk. Here comes the cloud. You know what I mean? And he gets struck every time. So I think we're going to get it this year. I think we're going to get it. I think we're looking good. We're looking a lot better than we were. It still hurts missing taking Wilkins out of the field. It still hurts taking Hunt out of there. X, I think, is definitely been replaced or was replaceable or is still replaceable at this point in time in the draft or secondary free agency post June 1.
There you go.
So with that, I want to say thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We really appreciate you folks. Without
100%.
you, there is no us.
There you go. CB83, love Fisk. FSU's full of great players, 1,000%. I'm banging the table for Braden Fisk. Loved him, loved his film, love what he did at the Combine. I think he would be an impact player day one for Miami. I don't care at 21, 55, whatever you have to do. If he's sitting there, you get him, I'm happy. 1,000%. I'm with you, Finn State. Miss Fins, my friend. It's from Key West. So good to see you. I hope you're doing great. Man, you got to do a show from Key West with the beach behind you, the ocean. That would be a perfect show. Surfs Up with Miss Fins in Key West. Quick 30-minute show. See, there you go.
Hey,
I gave you an idea.
You know
I would
what
love
I'm doing,
that.
Bobby? That's what I'm doing. Speaking of Key West, I'm going to go down to Key West for 2025 New Year's.
There you go.
I am going to go down there. I'm meeting a friend of mine. We're renting this house, and we're going to go down there and party for New Year's. It's going to be a great time.
There you go. Hey, Key West, man, I miss Key West. I haven't been there in years. I went there when I was a kid. I love it. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of, it's mythical. I just love Key West.
I just want to see it before.
I have to check it out.
You know?
I didn't get to see it on Friday, Miss Fins. I'll check it out. That's so cool. I love that idea. Sit there with the beach behind you, doing a show, Surfs Up. Love it. There you go. Maybe now we can win a playoff game. Absolutely. That's the dream. Let's win one. Give us one playoff win, please.
Yeah.
That's all. No, I want a Super Bowl, but you know what I mean. But anyway, guys, thank you all for watching. We appreciate you. If you haven't yet, like, subscribe, and as always, most importantly, fins up.
Fins up.
See you next week.